What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First and foremost, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the post notification bell so you'll know whenever I put out anything new, any new video, any new content, anything, period. Week 8, we are officially here at basically the midway point of the Atlanta Falcons season. 4-3 so far, atop the NFC South. It's had its ups, it's had its downs, but overall, I think we will take it. But this weekend, we have another big opportunity to go and pick up another win against a team who has been really faltering here so far in the early portion of this season. The Tennessee Titans are, I guess I should technically say, Oilers because, well, they are wearing the old Oilers uniforms this weekend. And another big thing, obviously, is Arthur Smith going back to Tennessee. We'll be talking all about it. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So the Falcons, as you see, sit atop the NFC South. 4-3 record at this point, full game ahead of everyone else. Buccaneers lost last night. We already beat them, so obviously good news on that end. Saints 3-4 as well. Panthers still yet to get their first win. They still haven't won a game. So it's a nice spot to be in, obviously. First in the division. Obviously nothing is clinched. Nothing is done yet. However, with that being said, this is a spot the Falcons haven't been in the last 6 years, over 500 and leading the NFC South. So you like to see it. As far as the Titans go, it's just, man, it's been a rough season. And the thing is, they have a big win against Cincinnati. They have a win versus the Chargers. Those are the only two wins they have, though. It's like torture watching that offense. The defense has been relatively good, but the offense has been the big story of what's holding them back. Derrick Henry is starting to look less and less like Derrick Henry in the Titans. We'll talk about it in a minute. The quarterback situation has been one of the biggest stories with them so far this season. They really don't have any weapons. So that's really the situation with the Titans and why it hasn't been a good year for them so far. Now, looking at this injury report, it's not like in the weeks past. The Falcons have some names on the injury report. Calais Campbell, CP, don't worry about them. Just rest days, that's all. Tay Davis, linebacker. Pretty good on special teams. He's also made some plays here and there out on the defensive side of the ball. He is out Sunday with a concussion. And the big story, Bud Dupree, who was a former Tennessee Titan, I want to say played for the Titans the last 2 years before this year, is questionable after something that I don't think a lot of us were familiar with, but he is officially questionable heading into Sunday. But looking at the Titans injury, this is just so, obviously, Ryan Tannehill's the big story. Did not practice at all this week. He is out for Sunday. Traylon Burke. A lot of these guys are just rest days, but obviously Josh Weil, he's out on Sunday. Naquan Jones, he's questionable Sunday. A lot of these guys just rest day, but if you're getting rest days at this point for a Titans team that's 2-4 and probably doesn't need any rest, I think it kind of shows you that the Titans are not fully bought in at this point in the season. But one of the big highlights nonetheless heading into this game is the quarterback carousel we're probably going to end up seeing. Will Levis, second-round pick, is being reported to make his first NFL start Sunday against the Falcons. But Malik Willis, I know that name sounds very familiar from a year ago, where it's also being reported he will be seen as well. So the Titans are basically going, I guess, with a high school style offense, which I'm going to tell you, 9 out of 10 times does not work in the NFL. And odds are will probably not work against Ryan Nielsen's defense. These are both, Will Levis making his very first start. Malik Willis, all we've seen of him has been nothing less than underwhelming and absolutely just putrid. But nonetheless, that's what the situation the Tennessee Titans have gotten in. Ryan Tannehill obviously is not, has definitely over the past few years since Arthur Smith left, you've kind of seen him go back to being Ryan Tannehill, but at least you would rather have Ryan Tannehill a solidified starter over not even having a solidified quarterback for this game. And however, going to the Falcons' offensive side of the ball, red zone efficiency, I think, has to be the story this week. And it has to really be the story as the season goes on. The Falcons the last 3 weeks have gained 400 yards of offense each week. However, in the red zone, I think we only have like 3 touchdowns for 1,200 yards of offense, and all the opportunities we've had in the red zone to only have 3 touchdowns in the red zone over the last 3 weeks. And I think you can honestly say more turnovers in the red zone. Alone last week in Tampa Bay and Washington, you can't have that if you're trying to win in the NFL. Now, one thing about the Titans, while that offense might be awful, that defense is still pretty respectable. That's what I'm going to say right now. I think you're probably looking at a very ugly ball game. This is not going to be a game where either team, I think, is cracking 20 points. I think I'd honestly be shocked if a team cracks 20 points in this game. But nonetheless, red zone efficiency, and even when I'm talking about that, man, don't turn the ball over in the red zone. Like, at the end of the day, you don't want to settle for the 3, but if you have to, you can have the confidence in this defense that they're going to go out and get a stop. When you're turning the ball over in the red zone, that is just flat out shooting yourself in the foot. So you have to protect the ball in the red zone. You have to be more efficient down in that area of the field. At some point, it's got to end in touchdowns. But obviously, I think you'd prefer it to end in a field goal over a turnover. And obviously, the 2 stellar defenses, I think, are going to be the story of this game. As I said, I don't think either team is going to crack 20 points. I think you're looking at a very sloppy ball game and a ball game where the defense is going to make a lot of plays. Because I think with the inconsistency the Falcons offense has shown, especially in the red zone, and a Tennessee offense that, let's face it, the Falcons are a top 5 run defense. The Falcons are a top 5 defense, period. Top 5 run and top 5 pass at this point. So the Titans, I wouldn't expect are going to be able to get much of anything going. However, Tennessee's defense, this man, Jeffrey Simmons, he is a problem. He will cause problems. The offensive line, this is going to have to be a game where they are going to have to come and play their tails off. Desmond Ridder, I don't want to see the man passing 30, 40 times a game. This is a game where, and another thing that needs to be noted too, there's a 70% chance of rain in Nashville on Sunday. You want to talk about an ugly game on top of an ugly game? That is just the cherry on top. Oh, and it's probably going to be a tsunami bowl. I don't know about that. I don't know how hard the rain's going to be coming down, but still, it's going to be a sloppy ball game. This is not a game where you need to go give Desmond Ridder the ball and tell him to win the game. This is a game you let your running backs do the work in. But the story, what I think a lot of people are talking about this week is Arthur Smith. For the reason that he spent a decade with the Titans organization. He started out there, I want to say, as a defensive quality control coach or something like that. And then shifted over to the offensive side of the ball, became an assistant, became the tight ends coach. then elevated to offensive coordinator before getting the job here in Atlanta based off of 2 very impressive seasons from the Titans offense. This is his roots. This is where he came from. Him and Mike Vrabel, the connection there is tight. It's like that in that. The Falcons, a lot of what you see from the Falcons today, you know that they value relationships. Arthur Smith, coming from Tennessee, he's not the only one. The Falcons over his first few years have taken a lot of guys from the Titans, no matter how big or how little of an impact that they have had. So now after all that, Arthur Smith, 3rd season, it's time to go up against your former running mates on Sunday. But with that being said, let's get into the keys of victory. First off, defense, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't change a thing. Yes, the elements are going to be different, but this is where you're supposed to thrive in. That's going to make the job a whole lot easier if that rain is coming down for this defense. So just do what you need to do. Keep doing what you're doing. And I feel pretty good about this thing alone. But number 2 is, we talked about it earlier, when you get your opportunities, take them. I do expect this defense to call some turnovers in this game. I could see up to 2, maybe even 3 turnovers. But the Falcons offense has to take advantage of them, even if that is constructing long drives, whether they even end in points or not. You can't turn the ball over. You'll want to see them end in points. If you have a long drive, yeah, they probably should and will end in points. But that's really just where it all starts. You get the ball, take advantage, and just run it into the ground, because this is going to be that type of game where it's going to be very nasty, very physical, ground and pound, blue-collar type of game. Number 3, show the Tennessee Titans what they are missing. What I mean by that is a competent running game, competent defense. What got them past the New England Patriots in the wild card round? What they had them dominate Baltimore in the divisional round back in 2019, where you saw that success Tennessee had. Show them what they are missing with that running game. Bijan, Tyler, CP, you name it. Jonnu Smith. I'm going to tell y'all, if anyone's getting involved in that receiving game, in that rushing game, it's going to be Jonnu Smith. This is, I think, a big opportunity for him. Talk about a guy formerly in Tennessee with Arthur Smith. Big opportunity for a lot of those guys Sunday. But how do I think this game is going to go? As I said, I think it's going to be a very ugly ball game. I think the score I think it's going to end in replicates that, 17-9. I think it's going to be a very ugly ball game. But I think it's going to be one that the Falcons come on top in. I think that the defense is going to have another great day. I could definitely see them causing 2 to 3 turnovers in this game. I think the Falcons could definitely be in a lot of short field situations. Offensive player of the game, Tyler Algier. I think I really wanted to put Jonnu here, but I just think Algier in this type of game, this is where you're going to get him going. And slowly thrust Bijan back in. But this is where you get a guy like Tyler Algier going in the elements, wearing that defense down, running them over. That is how you're going to win this game. The defense player of the game, there's so many guys I could go with. I think you're going to see Kane Ellis out there making a lot of plays on Sunday. But with that being said, it should be another exciting game to watch. Obviously, Arthur going back to Tennessee. The Falcons' opportunity to get 2 games above 500, somewhere where they have not been in 6 years. Well, no, we were 2 games over 500 first 2 weeks of the season. But I mean, this late in the season, 6 years ago, was the last time we were this late in the season, 2 games above 500. Have an opportunity to do that Sunday. With that being said, won't be streaming the game Sunday, but obviously I'll be back here Sunday evening, recap and review Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.